Game winner. .7 of a second left. Grizzlies win 110-108. They're balling, E.
This was a classic. This was a classic playoff showdown between two great teams that know each other inside and out. And the fact of the matter is, this was epic from the word go. The Grizzlies jumped all over the Spurs in game number 3, and in game 4, you expect the battle. At halftime, same 4-point lead. Grizzlies built it to 10. San Antonio comes charging back. That guy right there, you just saw, Kawhi Leonard, monster night, career high in a playoff. But it was Mike Conley who stole the show up until the end of regulation. Conley, more impressively to me than the 35 points, the 9 rebounds and the 8 assists. Involving himself on the defensive glass, also involving his teammates. You get a 4-point play right there where he hits a big shot, and Conley was sensational. He's the first Grizzly player in franchise history with 3 straight games with 20 or more points and 7 or more assists, and they've needed every one of them. They turned a corner in game 2 in San Antonio, and we saw the results in game 3 and 4, and you see Vince Carter here hitting a 3. It was a combined effort. It couldn't just be all Conley and Gasol, but you needed your stars to be stars. You needed role players to step up, and they got just that. Marc Gasol was terrific again. Here you see Conley driving that scoop, and it really just makes it look so easy, and that's such a difficult shot. This game had everything you wanted from a fan's perspective. Highs, lows. I mean, for a minute you think you're in big trouble because the Spurs, if they come back from 10, they generally don't lose those games when they come back and take the lead. But they found that at 191 Beale Street, that the crowd and the home team was just a little too much.
Now, Eric, you talked about that, talking about the reserve players. The Grizzlies needed those reserves to step up big. Andrew Harrison playing relaxed, playing some good minutes last night. And JaMychal Green, not in the starting lineup, coming off the bench, kind of struggled the first 2 games of this series, but JaMychal finally realizing this is the NBA. Acting ball. He comes in, give 14 points last night, giving us energy up and down the court, playing great defense. And going back to Mike, something has changed in Mike, because talking to Mike, it's like, okay, you can respect Tony Parker. He respects you as well, but at the same time, he's winning championships while he's trying to nice you to sleep. But I've seen something change in Mike. He's still respecting Tony, but he's going at Tony and anybody else that tries to cover him like, you can't guard me, I'm going to take you to the hoop, I'm going to drop a 3 on you, I'm going to win ball games. I mean, this is the kind of Mike Conley that we know we can get, that we always get, and it's just see him. It's good to see him come out of his shell and turn into a monster.
He's taken it to another level. There's no doubt about it. You talk to NBA players that have finished their careers, and they will tell you at the ages of 27 to 32, sometimes even 33, that is the peak of their NBA careers. That's where they hit their best basketball. Why? They're still athletic. Now they have the knowledge of the game of being in the NBA for however many years, whenever they came in, 6, 7, 8, in Mike's case, 9 full seasons under his belt. He knows how to take a game over now. He's never been a pound on his chest, rah-rah type of guy, but he is the leader of this team. David Fizdale has said as much, and Mike knows it now, and I think that's huge. You mentioned Andrew Harrison. I want to go back to that for just a minute. They don't win this game in game 4, and their backs are squarely against the wall if it's not for the rookie tracking down a breakaway layup, getting a huge block off the window. Instead of a 4-point San Antonio lead, it led to a fast break. Marc Gasol gets a basket and gets fouled, and instead of being down 4, you're up 1. That is a 5-point swing that was started with nothing but hustle. He has taken all the criticism he's heard all season long. He's never complained about it. He knows that he has a lot to learn, but that's now twice in this year, once very early on in Los Angeles where he blocked a Chris Paul layup, and now in this game where just sheer hustle and determination saved a game for the Grizzlies. Kudos to Andrew Harrison for that, and you mentioned JaMychal Green. He was terrific. Hit big threes, gave the crowd a big spark as well, and played much better defense in game 4 on the Marcus Aldridge than we had seen in the previous games.
Sorry. Game 3 now, Fizdale made a change in the starting lineup. He put longtime starter Zach Randolph back in the first 5, along with James Ennis III. Those 2, along with Mike, Mark, and Vince Carter, a huge reason the Grizzlies cut a 26-point deficit to 4 in the second half. They eventually lose by 14, but Fizdale found a formula, and that formula has been working extremely well since then.
Well, here's the thing. When you get into playoff basketball, you've got to have guys out there that know what it takes to win those basketball games. So you make the switch. You put Zach Randolph back in the starting lineup. Something that by him not starting for the predominant almost every game except for 5 this year, his legs are fresh and ready to go. You take punches like you just saw right there from Kawhi Leonard early on. San Antonio came out. They were looking to bury the Grizzlies early. The Grizzlies did not let it happen. They stayed in check. And then I thought in the second half, a brilliant move. They had put James Ennis in the starting lineup, but he had 3 fouls. You wanted him for the duration of the second half, so they started Wayne Selden to start the third quarter, so James didn't pick up a quick 4th foul and have to go sit down. Zach was terrific, but that move I thought really set the tone as well. Grizzlies scored 5 quick points to open the third quarter, and this is where I think Greg Popovich rolled the dice and lost. We're watching the highlights from the first half. The Grizzlies led by 4 at the end of the half. About a minute into the third quarter, they're up by 9. Pop rolls the dice by taking out his starters, putting in his bench guys, thinking, all right, I'll get my starters out of there, get them refocused. Bench can either chip away at this lead or keep it right here. And instead, it ballooned, and they never got back in the game.
Now, Eric, this is when I knew the Spurs were in trouble. Zebo was feeling himself.
Oh.
It's good to be in the starting lineup, but when I saw Zebo hit a bucket, and he did this with the fist, I knew it was over San Antonio then, because Zebo the Zebo was back, and he was feeling himself, and the Grizzlies were feeling themselves. Good win, good atmosphere in FedEx for him to come back to the grindhouse, not only respond to what David Fizdale did, but respond to the team and support the team. And how about that standing ovation they gave Fizdale before the game started?
Kids, it was great. Kids in San Antonio are afraid Zach Randolph's hiding in their closet, not the boogeyman, because he's been that good against San Antonio in his career. And the standing ovation for David Fizdale walking out of the tunnel. He had his team's back, and the city and his team responded by having his back. It was great. You mentioned the fine. That we don't even have to worry about that. None of that's coming out of his bank account. Yeah,
you paid.
Yeah, no, I didn't pay. No. I don't have that kind of scratch on me.
I thought
other people
was paying you $30,000.
No.
I heard about you.
Yeah, well, you know, that's we'll talk about that in the break. I'll give you my agent's phone number.
Please do, because I'm not getting that.
Yeah.
But hold on, time out when time is back in. James Ennis III on deck. Eric catching up with Ennis.